Carbon is a new Netflix original series based off the book Altered Carbon, starring Joel Kinnaman. The story takes place 350 years in the future, where people's consciousness are stored in a hard drive on the back of their neck, and when their body is killed, they can be transferred to a new body called a sleeve. Kinnaman plays the last surviving soldier of a group of mercenaries that tried to take down the New World Order 250 years in the past. In the pilot, he's woken up in a new sleeve and given the choice to either investigate the murder of the wealthiest man alive or spend the rest of his life in prison. So that's a simplified version of the setup for the show. I definitely enjoyed the first episode, but before I go into my full thoughts on it, just so you know, this will be spoiler-free besides telling you the general setup and concept of the show. And second, before I go into it, go ahead and tell me down below in the comments section, did you watch it? What did you think about it? And have you read the book? And how do they kind of compare to one another? With that said, let's get started talking about the good. Right out of the gate, you just got to talk about how gorgeous this show is. I mean, Netflix is figuring out how to stretch their budgets out really far, or they're just dumping in a ton of money into some of these shows because, I mean, it is just gorgeous, stunning graphics to it. The color scheme, the production design, all of it, they're very nicely designed to a level, like, it's just shocking what you're able to do with a TV show these days. Beyond just looking gorgeous, the simple world building going on here is very cool. Covers an enormous amount of ground in this first episode, establishing kind of the world that we're in, how the brain consciousness stuff gets transferred to other places, establishing a history of what has led to the world to this place, and even starting to explore some of the different concepts of the sort of political and cultural things that would be going on if this sort of idea of a consciousness that could be transferred to different bodies was taking place. What would that happen with culture? What sort of scenarios would play out? Even in the first episode, you're getting little hints of where the show can go and the types of conflicts that are going on and the world that we're in and the discussions that would be had in that. Also, it's an action show. It's not just kind of investigation show. And in that, the action is handled really nicely. I mean, it does a little bit of kind of not full-blown shaky cam, but moving handheld cam. And in that, it can feel a little bit jarring at times, but you can always see what's happening. You can tell there's nice choreography going on. It never comes off just like the camera's being shaken up to hide bad choreography. No, it's a stylistic decision to give an energy to what's happening. So I very much appreciated that about the show. Also, I really enjoy seeing Joel Kinnaman on the lead here. He's got a little bit of a bad rap in the general public because he started in RoboCop and then he was in Suicide Squad. So a lot of people only kind of know him from some of his weaker offerings because he hasn't gotten a big blockbuster that's been well received by the public, really. But he's actually a really good actor that I really enjoy seeing him. He was in a show called The Killing, and I thought he was quite good in that. And the little hint here, he's doing a good job here and can pull off the physicality as well as just kind of this very complex character that you're not really sure what he's for, what he's interested in. And one of the things stylistically that it does is because the nature of the story involves consciousness being shifted and reality being a little bit bent, there's a bit of a dreamlike sense to some of it, and it intercuts to characters talking to people and they're seeing other people at times. So there's this interesting vibe to the way it plays out, and it leaves you wondering, like, what kinds of big twists are we going to get throughout the story? Are we going to find out, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what my guess would be at this point in time, but some big type of reveal as to the nature of the storytelling and unreliable narrators and things like that. All sorts of things that are just very fun and interesting to see in a show like this. And I alluded to this earlier on, but it is a show that seems to not just have action, not just sci-fi, but ideas that it's exploring. And that's what good sci-fi does, that it takes ideas and concepts and finds a story to explore those ideas. And so even in this first episode, you're getting hints of what this show can be all about. With that said, let's move on to the mixed aspects of the show. And the big one that comes to mind is that it's a very hard R show. If it was a movie, it would be R for violence, sexuality, kind of the full shebang. They kind of go all out. The world that you're in is a very nasty world, and at least our characters are living in the seedy side of society. And for some people, that's going to be awesome and they're going to love it, and some people, they're not going to love it. So I showed my wife the trailer for this show, and she's like, yeah, let's watch that together. And I don't know how she's going to respond to the first episode just because it does have just such a seedy vibe to it. And our characters, there's no one that comes off like the good, bright, shining hero. They're all kind of these darker characters. And even the cops in it are doing shady things. And so it's that type of show that some people will love and some people will hate, just at the very nature of the show. And that's the big mixed thing on it. From there, let's move on to the bad. And so early on with one of these Netflix serialized shows, shows, it's tough to kind of evaluate the story to it. But the big negative with the pilot episode itself is that the whole thing's an exposition dump. Right from the get-go, right out of the gate, it's just kind of explaining the rules of the world. It's giving you history. We're getting the biography of characters. And as soon as two people start talking to each other, they're going, what's your story? And then the person tells their story. And then we meet another person. They say, well, this is what happened to me. Oh, well, how did that happen? Well, this is how that happened. So a lot of dialogue-heavy scenes, giving us background, giving us information we need to know. And because the world is interesting, it's not necessarily boring, but at the same time, the whole episode is an exposition dump. That is what this episode is. It's all set up. It's all putting the pieces in place so we can have a story further down the line. So with that in mind, it makes it a little bit difficult to know what is a normal episode going to be like when it's not just pouring so much information into our brains from the beginning to the end. To give my score on this one, this is definitely one that I want to keep on watching, and I got myself in a little bit of trouble because I want to keep watching it, but I know my wife wants to watch it with me, so I'm probably going to watch a few episodes and I have to use all my willpower to stop myself from keep watching so I can, watch it along with her. Anyway, that's my take on it. How about you guys? Go ahead and tell me down below in the comment section, what did you think about it? Have you read the book? All that fun stuff. Kind of give me some context as to where you're coming from. I'm pretty excited about checking this one out to see where it's going to go, and I might even go through the books if I end up liking the series. With that said, if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I will be doing a full series review once I finish it. That's at least my plan. And so if you want to tune in for that, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, ranking videos, but the key thing is I don't want to just talk about movies and TV. I want to talk about movies and TV with you. So join me down in the comment section. Let's start talking about Altered Carbon even right now after that first episode. Keep it spoiler free. And as always, thank you for watching.